But a lot of the progress I make in here doesn't carry over except for the story. So for those of you unaware, when you start Mass Effect 2, you basically are starting from scratch on your character. From Mass Effect 2 to 3, your character level and progress carries over. But everything I do here doesn't. None of this is going to carry over. So I am debating doing all of the side, like a lot of the side missions or not. I just wish I had an easy way to check. Like, Bring Down the Sky, I know for a fact it will affect.
If anyone has to take over for Captain Anderson, I'm glad it's you. I'm not sure about having non-humans on our ship, though.
Oh, this guy. Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I wanted to find, like, a guide. Okay. I mean, Nate, if you know where I can find a guide that can just point out the specific side missions, like I know the serviceman Batia, she carries over. I know Bring Down the Sky shows up in 3. Alright, I'll take a look at that.
We're all on the same team here, Presley.
With all due respect, ma'am, that's what they said about Nihilus. Look how that turned out.
Speak freely, Presley. I want to know if you have a problem with non-humans.
It's not that, Commander. Humanity has always handled its own problems. Saren attacked one of our colonies. We should be the ones to stop him. We don't need their help.
Ah, yes, space racism.
Some people think asking for help is a sign of weakness. That's just being stupid and stubborn. No matter how strong you are, allies can make you stronger.
I guess so. Maybe I'm just stuck in the old ways of thinking. But don't worry, Commander. This won't be a problem.
Yeah, Nate, because like Bring Down the Sky doesn't even show up until 3. Like if you let the guy go at the end of Bring Down the Sky, he pops up in 3, and you can help him and the Batarians out.
How did you end up assigned to the Normandy?
I signed up with the Alliance as a navigator right out of school, following in my grandfather's footsteps, I guess. My first posting was on the Agincourt. We were at Elysium during the Skillian Blitz. A massive fleet of alien raiders hit the colony, trying to wipe it out. They had the numbers, but their ships were no match for an Alliance frigate. It was a slaughter. We couldn't even keep track of how many ships they lost.
Nate, is the second one you sent, the Mass Effect 3 one, does that include the stuff for 2 as well?
How'd you end
Like
up on
specifically
the
from 1 to 2
I got
and
my
1 to
officer's
3?
commission after Elysium. Must have made an impression on the right people. Captain asked for me when he was picking his crew.
Perfect. That is exactly what I want, Nate. Thank you. I will take a look over that when I go to break in a little bit. Alright.
Carry on, Presley.
Because that's all I need. I don't want to waste time doing side missions that are not going to help me. Oh, God. Saverick. Please don't. Please don't make me think of Andromeda. Please don't. Why are you doing that to me, man? Why you gotta be that way? It's a horrible, horrible thing to do to me. We were having such a good time. Such a good time. And then you remind me of that. How dare you, sir? I hope that chili reamed you. Alright, talk to Caden.
Anything you need, Commander?
Just trying to get a sense of where the crew's at. Thoughts?
I've wasted enough of your time for now, Commander. We'll have time for personal debriefings later.
We'll talk another time, Lieutenant.
Commander?
The characters are not my problem with Andromeda. Actually, Hot. My entire problem with Andromeda is that it is an unfinished game. That's it. That's my problem. Right there. The game is unfinished. And, that bothers me. And I know that it will never be finished. That's the worst part. So, like, if I sat down to play Andromeda, I'm never gonna get anywhere. And that's real frustrating. Like, in the extreme. I'm just making sure, you know. Because I can't remember where everybody is on the ship. One thing I will say is the map is... Eternal cliffhangers are my favorite. There's something wrong with you, Nate. I worry about you. Yeah, Wes, basically, Andromeda ends on a cliffhanger and doesn't even explain where certain characters are, where certain races are. Like, entire races are just missing from the game, and there is clear hints that there is supposed to be DLC leading to where those races are. And, yeah. Nobody knows. Nobody knows, actually,
Commander?
Wes.
What's your opinion of the last mission?
Kinda wish you'd got there sooner, Commander. No offense, I appreciate the rescue. I just wish...
You wish we'd been able to save the rest of your unit.
Yes, ma'am. If I had been more alert, we wouldn't have been cut down by an ambush.
Yeah, nobody knows, Wes. The EA account has been kind of mentioning a lot
They're
of...
the perfect ambushers. They don't move, they don't make noise, they don't even breathe.
They have flashlight heads, ma'am. I'll make sure it doesn't happen again.
I would be hesitant unless I knew for a fact that a sequel, one, ported Andromeda in. Like, because that's part of the whole thing with Mass Effect, is you want to be able to port your decisions in. So, like, from Mass Effect 3 to Andromeda, they're two different, basically, universes, so Andromeda was like a reboot. If you could take what you did in Andromeda and put it into, say, an Andromeda 2, and Andromeda 2 addressed the Quarians, the cliffhanger ending, and some of the oddball gameplay decisions that they kind of half-assed, I think that would be a galaxy... Well, I'm using universe in the term of, like, storyline universes, not actual galaxies like the lore, John. Splitting hairs there. Let's just do that.
Do you have a few minutes to talk? One-on-one?
I'm sorry, Commander. I need to get my duty squared away. I wouldn't mind talking more later, though.
Okay.
Dismissed, Chief.
But I'd be willing to give it a try. I'd have to play through Andromeda, which would drive me absolutely bonkers. Alright, let's go talk to Garrus.
Thanks for bringing me on board, Commander. I knew working with the Spectre would be better than life at CSEC.
Have you worked with the Spectre before?
Well, no, but I know what they're like. Spectres make their own rules. You're free to handle things your way. At CSEC, you're buried by rules. The damn bureaucrats are always on your back.
For the most part, the rules are there for a reason.
Maybe. But sometimes it feels like the rules are only there to stop me from doing my work. If I'm trying to take down a suspect, it shouldn't matter how I do it, as long as I do it.
But CSEC wants it done their way. Protocol and procedure come first. That's why I left.
So you just quit because you didn't like the way they do things?
There's more to it than that. It didn't start out bad, but as I rose in ranks, I got saddled with more and more red tape. CSEC's handling of Saren was typical. I just couldn't take it anymore. I hate leaving.
Thank you for the bits, the N7, and welcome. Garrus is not necessarily wrong. That is true. Also, Nate, do me a favor. In the CAD room or on Discord, send me that GameFAQs link so I don't miss it, because it's going to scroll off at this point.
I hope you made the right choice. I'd hate for you to regret it later.
Well, that's sort of why I teamed up with you. It's a chance for me to get off the Citadel, see how things are done outside CSEC. Either way, I plan to make the most of this.
And without CSEC headquarters looking over my shoulder, well, maybe I can get the job done my way for a change.
Oh, don't you worry, Garrus. Don't you worry. You'll be with us the whole way, baby. But thank you for the bits as well, N7, and like I said, welcome. N7 has claimed the top spot and added to Greg's pile. Praise Greg.
If getting the job done means endangering innocent people, then no. We get the job done right, not fast. Got it?
I wasn't trying to. I understand, Commander.
Oh, Mako.
Commander, good to see you.
I don't like you. That reminds me, I did level up. Which is you? Yes, you. Okay, so Charm's maxed. Thank you for the follow, N7. Greg is very happy, as you can see. I really want to get pistols, but I also want to get throw. I got warp up pretty good. Getting that radius up would be nice, but that's only half a meter. I don't really care about barrier stasis right now. I'm gonna head up towards getting lift. I want to get my control options kind of set up. And,
Hey, Commander. Looking for some extra supplies before you head out?
What have you got?
Whatever you want. Armor, weapons, mods. It's not standard Alliance issue, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Well, as long as you don't mind paying for it.
Why should I pay you for my weapons and armor?
My stuff doesn't come from the Alliance. I have to purchase it myself, and it's not cheap. Hell, the licenses alone have set me back more than I'd like. But no licenses, no goods. Without the goods, I'm out of a job.
What are licenses? Why do you need them?
Manufacturers sell licenses. Each license allows me to buy and sell a certain brand of products. I already have several basic ones, but you'll need to buy more if you want me to bring in different brands. Many of the best licenses are hard to get, but they're well worth the cost if you can find them.
that is why I bought those licenses earlier.
How often will you get new items?
Well, that depends on how many licenses you've purchased. But I'll rotate items on a regular basis regardless. And anytime we land someplace with a big enough port, I'll buy, sell, and trade whatever I can. Check back often. I need to move items quickly, so only the most basic items will be stocked consistently.
Let's see what you've got.
You bet, Commander.
Let's see what they've got. So I can wear light armor. Omni tool ain't gonna help me. Got a couple different pistols. Ah, see, common and limited. Okay, so what does this look like compared to me? Better damage, but accuracy rating, Lower damage, way better accuracy, way more shots. That wouldn't help me at all. I'm not a sniper. See, I'd love to get some better armor. But that is not going to happen. Alright. Heavy armor Krogan. And we're going to go talk to Tali. She hangs out near the engine. Alright, let's get that. Let's talk to the engineer.
Commander, you know that Quarian Tali? She's been spending all her time down here asking me about our engines.
I'll tell her to leave you alone.
What? No, she's amazing. I wish my guys were half as smart as she is. Give her a month on board and she'll know more about our engines than I do. She's got a real knack for technology, that one. I can see why you wanted her to come along.
I figured she'd be a real asset to the team.
You got an eye for Tali, Commander, but I'm guessing that's not why you came down here.
Where else have you served, Adams?
If you name a class of Alliance ship, I've probably served on it. Everything from dreadnoughts and carriers right down to frigates like the Normandy. My last assignment was on the Tokyo, only a cruiser, but she was a good ship. Couldn't hold a candle to the Normandy, though.
I want to know more about the Normandy.
She's the best ship I've ever served on, probably the fastest vessel ever designed. And she's the only one using the new Tantalus drive core.
What's so special about the Tantalus drive core?
Proportionally, it's about twice the size of any other vessel. Not only are we faster, we can run at FTL speeds longer before we have to discharge the core.
Alright,
Carry on, Adams.
Aye, aye,
Commander. Yeah, triple monitors is nice. So technically speaking, I have 3. I have my TV, you can kind of see right here, which acts as like a third.
Your ship's amazing, Shepard. I've never seen a drive core like this before. I can't believe you were able to fit it into a ship this small. I'm starting to understand why you humans have been so successful. I had no idea Alliance vessels were so advanced.
The Normandy's a prototype, cutting-edge technology.
A month ago, I was patching a makeshift fuel line into a converted tug ship in the flotilla. Now, I'm sitting on board one of the most advanced vessels in Citadel space. I have to thank you again for bringing me along. Traveling on a vessel like this is a dream come true for me.
I had no idea you found ship technology so interesting.
It comes with being a Quarian. The migrant fleet is the key to the survival of my people. Ships are our most valuable resource. But we don't have anything like this. We make do with cast-offs and second-hand equipment. We just try to keep them running for as long as we can. Some of the fleet's larger vessels date all the way back to our original flight from the get.
I can't believe your fleet's still using ships that are 3 centuries old.
They're constantly being repaired, modified, and refitted. They aren't pretty, but they work. Mostly. We've tried to make ourselves as independent as possible on the flotilla. Grow our own food, mine, and process our own fuel. But some things we just can't make on our own. A patch to maintain the hull integrity requires raw materials we just don't have. That's why our pilgrimages are so important.
Tell me about your people.
Our lives aren't easy. Resources are scarce, and we are constantly on the move. Everything we do must in some way contribute to the continuation of the migrant fleet. There are 17 million Quarians in the flotilla, and each of us relies on the others for survival. The bonds among my people are strong. Unfortunately, we have had to surrender many of the freedoms and civil liberties other species take for granted.
I find the Quarians absolutely fascinating, by the way. They're one of my favorite races in this game.
What kind of freedoms?
Well, it's illegal for parents to have more than one child. If our population grows too much, it would strain our resources to their breaking point. Of course, we also can't allow our numbers to become too few. If our population is in decline, the rule against single births is temporarily repealed. In extreme cases of population decline, incentives are even offered to encourage multiple births, though the Conclave hasn't had to take such measures in nearly a century.
That's your government.
The Conclave is our civilian branch of government. Each ship can elect a representative to serve on the Conclave and make decisions that affect the fleet as a whole. On matters that affect an individual ship, however, the captain has the final say. It's a tradition that dates back to the early days, when the fleet was governed by martial law. Fortunately, most captains nowadays are smart enough to have an elected council from their crew to give them advice and guidance.
Yeah, I'm not gonna disagree with you there, man. She is the best girl in this game. The whole series, really.
So the ultimate power rests with elected officials?
In practice, the Conclave and the respective council for each ship tend to set the rules that govern our daily lives. But in theory, we are still under military jurisdiction. The 5 top-ranking military officials in the fleet serve on the Admiralty Board. These 5 have the power to overrule any decision by the Conclave in case of emergency. To do so requires unanimous agreement among the Admiralty, and they can only do this once. After that, the entire board must resign their posts. It's a safeguard that served us well. In nearly 3 centuries, the Admiralty Board has only overruled the Conclave 4 times.
Also, real quick, Nate, when I get out of this, I'm going to pull up my side quests. If you can tell me if any of those have an impact on one of the later games. Because I'll do those first before I go get Liara.
Anything you don't already know. It's been almost 3 centuries since they drove my people into exile. All I know is the story of their origins. What they were when we created them, and how they turned on us.
Interesting.
The Geth were originally created to serve as an automated manual labor force. Initially, their intelligence was as limited as any VI. Over time, we made small modifications to their programming to allow them to perform more varied and complex tasks, bringing them closer and closer to true AI status.
How come the council didn't step in and stop you?
This wasn't true AI research. We may have been skirting the bounds of the law, but we never did anything that was actually illegal. The changes were so insignificant, so gradual, that we were able to control them. Or so we thought. But one thing we underestimated was the power of the neural network. 1 million Geth thinking simultaneously created an inherently unstable matrix.
So the Geth share brain power?
Many of the Geth's logic systems were designed to work in concert with other nearby Geth. Basically, the more of them you have in the group, the smarter they are.
So there's some sort of group consciousness?
No, nothing like that. They cannot share sensory data or information. Their programming cannot handle that much simultaneous input. Each Geth maintains an individual awareness and identity. The neural network only operates on a process-based level. It's basically the synthetic equivalent of a subconscious. But when they're in close proximity, they can coordinate low-level functional processes, freeing up more capacity for original or independent thought.
Excuse me.
Bless you, sweetie. Well,
What made them rebel?
As we built more and more Geth, their effective intelligence became more sophisticated, more abstract. One day, a Geth began to ask its Quarian overseer questions about the nature of its existence. Am I alive? Why am I here? What is my purpose? As you can imagine, this caused a near panic among my people.
I don't see what's so bad about those questions.
The Geth were created to engage in mundane, repetitive, or dangerous manual labor. That's fine for machines, but it won't satisfy a sentient being for long. The Geth were showing signs of rudimentary self-awareness and independent thought. If the Geth were intelligent, then we were essentially using them as slaves. It was inevitable the newly sentient Geth would rebel against their situation. We knew they would rise up against us, so we acted first. A general order went out across all Quarian-controlled systems to permanently deactivate all Geth. The Geth responded to this order violently.
ooh, yeah. Yeah. So, yeah.
Hey, you can't blame them for fighting for their survival.
We had no other choice. The Geth were already on the verge of revolution. By acting quickly, we had a chance to end the war before it began. The hope was that most of the Geth would still be little more than machines, incapable of organized resistance. But they had progressed much further than anyone anticipated. The war was long and bloody. Millions upon millions of Quarians died at their hands. In the end, we were forced to flee our own homeworld. We feared the Geth would pursue us, but they never came beyond the Veil. Now we drift through space, exiled, searching for a way to reclaim what was once ours.
Whoo, doggy.
It's hard to feel sorry for you. Your ancestors tried to wipe out another species.
We made a mistake when we created the Geth in the first place, but we did not make a mistake when we went to war against them. If we had not acted, they would have wiped us out. They're a synthetic life form. They have no use for organics. None. Why do you think they cut themselves off from the rest of the galaxy? Why do you think they've killed every organic being who's ever tried to contact them?
They didn't kill Saren.
What does that tell you? The Geth are not innocent victims in all this. They're the enemy. They want to destroy us. Not just the Quarians. All organic life. That's why they've joined up with Saren. And that's why we have to stop him.
I want to know more about the pilgrimage.
When my people reach maturity, we leave our birth ships and seek acceptance with a new crew. It's necessary to maintain genetic diversity among the fleet. But no ship wants to accept someone who will be a burden on them. So, to prove our worth, we embark on a pilgrimage. We set out alone, leaving the flotilla and our families behind us. We only return once we have found something of value we can bring back to the fleet. This is presented as a gift to the captain of the respective ship we wish to join. If the gift is accepted, we are welcomed into the crew.
Nate over here gonna troll me like he always
Did the
does.
captain choose to reject the gift?
That doesn't happen often. Most captains are eager to increase the size of their crew. It increases their own standing in our society. Even when the gift is not particularly valuable, the captain usually accepts it out of a sense of tradition. However, there is a stigma to presenting a substandard gift. It's not the best way to make a good impression on a new community. Most pilgrims don't return until they find something worthwhile.
I want to talk about something else.
Like what?
I should go.
See you later.
Alright. Alright, Nate, here what we got. I got hostile takeover, hostage, privateers, missing survey team, missing marines. That one I can't progress, and I'm pretty sure Conrad shows up later anyway. Strange transmission and unusual readings. So if any of those affect me, or affect 2 or 3, let me know. Yeah, we're gonna go do Liara, I think, next. We're gonna go get Liara. Artemis Tau. Alright, missing Marines, huh? Well, let's talk to Rex.
Nice ship you've got, Shepard. What can I do for you?
What's your story, Rex?
There's no story. Go ask the Quarian if you want stories.
You Krogans live for centuries. Don't tell me you haven't had a few interesting adventures.
Well, there was this one time the Turians almost wiped out our entire race. That was fun.
I heard about that. You know, they almost did the same to us.
It's not the same.
It seems pretty much the same to me.
So your people were infected with a genetic mutation? An infection that makes only a few in 1,000 children survive birth? And I suppose it's destroying your entire species?
I suppose it isn't all the same.
I don't expect you to understand, but don't compare humanity's fate with the Krogan.
Sorry, Rex. I wasn't trying to get you upset.
Your ignorance doesn't upset me, Shepard. As for the Krogan, I gave up on them long ago. The genophage infected us, but it's not what's killing us.
Are your people really dying?
We're sure not getting any stronger. We're too spread out. None of us are interested in staying in our own system.
Lots of species have left their homes and prospered.
But they go to colonize new worlds. We're not settlers. We're warriors. We want to fight. So we leave. Hire ourselves out. And most of us never go back.
What can you tell me about the genophage?
Ask the Solarians if you want details. They made it. All I know, it makes breeding nearly impossible. Thousands die in stillbirth, and most never get that far. Every Krogan is infected, every one. And no one's rushing to find a cure.
Why don't the Krogan try to find a cure?
When was the last time you saw a Krogan scientist?
Mass Effect 2.
You ask a Krogan, would he rather find a cure for the genophage or fight for credits? He'll choose fighting every time. It's just who we are, Shepard. I can't change that. Nobody can.
So long, Rex.
Shepard.
Exactly. In the future, we will have a solution. Pretty sure missing Marines. You mean the Dune one? I have to go. Oh god. Oh lordy. This one, huh? Find the recon team? Nah, you don't think so? Oh, thank God. For those of you who are unaware, missing Marines involves a giant fuck you worm. Okay, so real quick, none of these matter, Nate. Hostile, hostage, privateers, none of this stuff really matters in the future games.